All right, this is the 14 by 23 Kellenberger model 600U universal cylindrical grinder, three-wheel design machine.
So okay, let's jump in. Obviously the front end, the control panel. At stock, we'll take a walk around, point out a few things, but the work head right here. Variable speed, of course. Siemens drive. Back around the side here, got the wire weight, and of course down low, the hydraulic system and the way loop system. This one's new. We just installed this guy because the other one got damaged in shipping, so it's a new way lube unit. Coming around the side here, I do have the covers open with the screws off, but we got one half of the hub assembly on there. The other half's in the box. We don't have a wheel for it. Oh, it does turn freely too. A lot of people want to know if it's not. Once we get the oil going here, this thing turns quite nicely actually, so it's always a nice check to make. Coolant up on top, various covers off to the side here. This whole area here would take these 2-foot covers that are sitting on the floor right behind the machine here. It's a complete shroud all the way around the back of the machine. And as you come up off of those, up on the table here, just a couple of attachments and some other guards that I got off to the side just so we can do the video. And some spare parts actually with a couple of hubs in there. And the rest of the main hub is in there. Some belts, wheel guard, might recognize some of this is the ID guard that goes up and down. There was an air collet attachment with this one, so that all goes. And a couple of different dresser units sitting up there. Stuff in the back there, these are all shipping brackets for all that, for what it's worth. If we ship the machine, this all goes with it. For the time being anyhow. Hopefully it comes back to us. Coming back around. Again, all the wire-away system down through here and the air package. For the air cushion lift, this does not have the option for the table lift, but it does have the wheel head lift for indexing. Of course, it's a 3-position indexable turret up here for OD face and ID grinding, which happens to be back here. The ID spindle's underneath this cover here. We're not belted right now because we don't have a hub, because we don't have a job. We don't know what to put on there, but it is a new spindle. It's a Fortuna, I believe, isn't it? Yeah. Ready to go, so it's in there. All it needs is a hub and a belt and index it around and we're good to go. Lay this down before I forget it. There we go. So that's all set. Coming around here, we got the electric panel. Up through here, we can pop this open. Currently running 480 volts. At least that's what it's tagged at. Got the Siemens drive for the work head down here. Various switchgear. Pretty straightforward. Some transformers down low, control transformers, and documentation all the way in the bottom down there for the machine. All goes with it. And one door key too, of course, yeah. Let me close this up. And getting down to the nuts and bolts of it, let's see, in no particular order, maybe we'll just fire up the wheel head first, and then we'll go over the work head, play with that a little bit, and then leave that off and turn on oil and do some things here with the various cycles. So straight away, if you want to come in on this, I can move this up out of the way. You can kind of watch the oil. The oil is really nice on this machine too. It's really clear. It's in good shape down in the well here. And then when I power it up right now, it's got the Y delta start up, and you'll see the spritzers come on. And it looks good, sounds good, and the oil comes right up like it's supposed to. So here's the main spindle. Yeah, see, crossing swords come right on, that's nice. There's the delta, just kicked in. sounds really good. I can let it wind down one time and fire it back up one more time and kind of watch it from a distance. I don't know how much you can see on the camera, but you can hear it, and it really has a nice sound to it. Nice coast, winds down nicely. That thing's still spinning, huh? There we go. One more time. That said, we can pull off of that, shut that down, bring the oil back up. Once the oil's up, I can run the workhead. We can play around a little bit with that, start moving the table, and then call for maybe a plunge and a grind cycle. This one, of course, I haven't really moved it at all, but this does have the telescoping attachment on it. That would be the lock down there for the lift, and of course I'm not moving it because I have no intention of putting any riser blocks in here, but there's the lock for it right there for the main coil, and this is elevation up here. And these two levers right here, I forgot, I think I've got them unclamped because I was playing with the index before, but that's a clamp, and that's the locking pin lever off to the right here, so that's locked in right now. And yeah, actually if I pull it up, that's unlocked, we could swivel and then back down, so that all works good. And pulling back to that, we can jump on oil right away. Let's bring that up. It's all set. I'm going to leave it in auto cycle. There's a manual and an auto cycle. In manual, this thing will just run infinitely, of course, and never return. So not too many people use it that way, I don't think, unless you're going to manually feed. It's on auto cycle. And this is for the workhead. Number 1 would be on. Number 2 would be on automatically with the cycle stick. So if you pull back, I'm going to switch over to 1. Workhead's going to come on right now. Should. There it is. And I can play with the pot a little bit, which is down here, the big guy. Moving pretty slow right now. We'll speed it up. That's about half speed. Moving along there. Again, it looks really good, sounds nice. Slow it down some. And we can shut that off. Here's the air package right here. On this button, it's maintained, so you don't have to hold it. The older style ones, I think you had to hold these, but that comes on, air's on right now, and there's, you're indexing, and then when you come off, you shut it off, you're good to go. And that said, I have a plunge cycle on here right now with the oil running. Oh, here's jog. I think jog should work here too. There we go. There's jog. And manual, I'm moving kind of fast here, but manual is just what it is. I think you got a lot, yeah, high-low on here, which works nice. There's the fine feed. And there's coarse feed, which is just, I'm just moving this lever off to the side here. That's fine coarse. Like I said, the spindle, we covered that. The back end, I didn't lift this cover up before, but it does have the latch on here for the lock, for the live and dead center. That all works real nice too. That just falls right in. I forgot to mention that, so that works nicely. I've checked it. And with that, we'll just jump right into, I'm going to shut the table off in terms of flow. Just jump right into a, let me jump in here. I've got it in the right position, yeah, into a plunge cycle here. And here we go. And I'm moving right along. I'll do it a couple of times, and you get a closer look at this dial. I forgot where I left it off, but I'm flying. Let me see if I got my dwell set about right. It should kick back in a few seconds. Okay, we'll leave the dwell right there. Bring it in again, and let's back it up. Let's back it way up so you can really see this thing move. Let's come half the dial. There we go. Just so we could play with the rapid traverse lever and the cycle off lever. So this is moving along off the dial now. Here's coarse feed off the dial. It's really slow or really fast. That's just coarse feed or rough cut, if you will. I can stop it dead with this dial. And let's send it back home again. I'm going to let it come in slow so we can play with this lever now. Let me slow that down. By the way, the head's coming in each time I do this, and if you see this on and off with the lever, we're bringing the head in, which is this whole business right here. I'll explain in a second. So, back out. and just reverse it. Now I'm gonna come in on this one more time on the dial here, Pete. I'm gonna come in, let this move slow, and here's the rapid override. So that works nice. Or I could shut the cycle off and then maybe check apart or measure whatever I'm gonna do, and then go right back into the cycle and let it continue. Now here's fine here on plunge, and again, we can let it go back. We'll start it again just to show that. Let it kick back, let it come back in, but let's get a little bit closer so we can do a few cycles in a row here. Let me lock it up just at 5/1000ths maybe. I'm gonna bring it in, and here's the plunge fine feed. Now I've got it shut off now, so here I'm just about, if you can just barely see it, I can move this thing down pretty slow here. Let it zero out, and my dwell just about made it. So one more time, I'm gonna hit it, and I'm gonna speed up the fine feed now. There's coarse, here's fine, barely moving, and I'll dial it up just to show the difference. You can finish feed that quickly. Want to see that again, or are you okay? One more time. Bring it in. Here's a real rapid fine feed, if you will. Yeah, that's moving right along. So, and that's that. And then, well, the last lever on the side here, as long as we're talking about it, is if I go into manual here, and this guy here is just a brake. So that works good too. That locks it in solid in the neutral position. So you come off of there. What I'm going to do is go into traverse now motion. I left them short just so we can make things happen rapidly. But for the sake of showing the table full out, we can kind of get this going, give it some oil here, and see what we got here. Slow it down a little bit. Oh, I forgot to say, with the head coming in, we're using an automatic head in with cycle on, but we can go over to H here, which stays back with cycle on. As you know, it's not moving right now. And if I want to move it, that brings me onto the lever here. Now I can just move this thing in and out manually. So that's that mode, which I never really use. And of course, the last mode, if I stop the cycle, would be internal grinding, would be right here. And if you notice, that comes in right away as soon as we put it on I. Of course, you'd want it in for internal grinding, but I'm going to leave it on just standard traverse grinding, standard cycle A. It'll come in with my lever, which I'm going to do right now. Just to speed it up a little bit, we can check Terry right away. It's going a little bit faster. Here's Terry halfway on one side, which will be here. A couple seconds maybe. We are feeding, by the way, but let's check this first. That was a few seconds. We'll go a little bit longer on the Terry. I went the wrong way. Let's go longer on the Terry this way. I don't know what it is, 5, 6, 8 seconds. We'll do the other one right away, then move over to the dwell on either side and feed on left side, right side. Set that. And let's go halfway on this side. A few seconds. There it is, one more time. And about 3 seconds with that, 4. Then we'll go all the way now. It's a little bit longer. Yep. It's a good 6, 8 seconds. That's about right. So I'm going to shut those off now. And I'm going to move over to, and we are feeding, by the way. We're feeding right side only, if you can see it. You'll see that every time this guy hits, I'll get one feed. We're going to go through all 3 of them right now. That's right side. Let me tighten these up a little bit so we can make things happen here. There we go. It's going to happen quick. There's right side. And now I'm going to switch over to left side. Just did a flip-flop, so it's this one now. And I'm going to take it back home so we start a new cycle, and then we're going to do both. Here we go. Bring it back in again, and we're feeding. Now I'm going to feed both. There we go. Moving right along now. We can speed it up. Well, let me set my dwell on this one too. On this dwell is right about, I think, like 1. And let's speed it up. Let's come up to 0. Let it fine feed on traverse grind here. Inch it up there. And by the way, you can use this also on the fine feed, not just the coarse feed. Like we're fine feeding right now. Watch this. See? Continuous. So let's back it up though. Let's do another one and we'll let it do on its own. Well, I didn't let it finish off. Electrically, I don't think it's done dwelling yet. Let's see. There it goes. and we got to go back 5,000. So here we go. Let's see if we can incrementally feed in. And now I've got nothing, which is a wonderful thing. Come in. It's because I'm still on the, I'm sorry. I bumped the lever. There we go. I took it out of cycle. Here we go, one more time. Let's see what we get. Go back, double feed, and here we go, moving right along again. That's a pretty good coarse feed there. Then we'll get into fine feed. There's fine feed now. That's moving okay. I think I'll just leave it right there. It's not bad. It might take a second here, but now let's watch our dwell. I think I've got it pretty close. We'll zero out at this feed rate. Oh, that's pretty fast. We can give it a touch more. Maybe one more time. Bump up the dwell slightly and come back in here. And again, we can wrap it up to this point, but you can see the incremental feed both sides. Now I'm going to speed up the finished feed again just to keep it moving. There we go. It's maybe about 1,000 now each recip. There we go. Dwelling. Still dwelling. Perfect. And then the last one maybe, if I take it way back just to kind of, again, to watch the coarse feed here. If I bring it in, I'm going to play with the coarse feed on incremental. We're going about a couple thousandths here. I can speed that way up now. See, we're taking off big chunks on the dial here off this guy. Look at that, yeah. So same thing as in plunge feed. Both dials work the same way. I'm going to slow it way down. I just shut it off. So still, even though that's coarse feed, that's about the same amount as fine feed, believe it or not. So let's get it back going up here. We go back into fine feed, dwell, and let it finish off. It'll go back. And lastly, I'll open up the dogs a little bit and play with the speed for the table. There we go. Yeah, we just kind of pop these open some, and yeah, the table's got a lot of travel to it actually. You can slow this down a little bit. And for a longer type shaft or whatever. Oh, it's still feeding. I forgot I left it on, but yeah, you can leave these out. Just for the sake of speeding slowly up, that's full slow or off for plunge grinding. It is about mid-range, and there's full out. It's moving pretty good here. I think I'll make it. I won't wait for it. Let me move this in. Yeah, right about there. So that's full out right there. Not hitting the thing. That's good. And slow it down a little bit. Bring this back down. Bring these in some, and we're good to go here. Speed it up. Yeah, there we go. Let's finish that off. That goes back. So that's auto cycle. Like I said, hand, it'll just keep on going. Now the whole thing with the work head and the wheel head maybe for the last one. We'll call it a day here. There's the wheel head. We'll put this guy on auto. And maybe just take off about 5,000, something like that. And feed both sides with dwell, full cycle. We'll tighten it up a little bit here. And let it rip. That's on, that's running, and we are feeding with about 2 thousandths to go. Fine feed. Just about up to that zero there. See if I got my dwell set up all right. We're on the dead stop now, I think. Yep. There it is. And shut down the motor. Shut down oil. And we've got a good running machine here.